Hello Internet. This one is for all of the AMD fanboys out there. This 7900 XTX came in for repair, and as you would have imagined, it does not post. So let's run the memory test and see three things. 1. Will the card be detected? 2. Is this going to be one of those boring faulty memory chip replacement videos? Or 3. It will pass the memory test, and that will be the reason why I hate AMD graphics cards, because all hell just broke loose once again. Device Manager says we have an error code 43, and the GPU-Z shows us two things. Number 1, it runs in X8 mode. And number 2, it's missing a lot of sensor data.
That's not normal.
Basically, we have a dead core. This is it for this repair. Customer will pay diagnostic and expedite fee.
And we are done. Last repair for the day, and goodbye.
But wait.
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Look here. We have several knocked off capacitors on the back of the board, explaining why it only ran at X8 instead of X16. But that doesn't explain why the card was not posting. Either way, this is getting interesting, so let's take it apart and see what else is on the menu. And by menu I mean this thermal putty that has to be completely removed, otherwise it turns into glass if we were to reball the core.
What?
This is just another bonus from AMD cards, as if their weirdness isn't enough on its own. In any case, measuring voltages and resistances does not make much sense because the card is detected. But a visual inspection won't hurt. Not this guy anyway. Here we have a missing capacitor, some sign of liquid damage or something, not sure, and those knocked off caps on the back from earlier, and that's it. So in a situation like this, knowing that the AMD enthusiasts can't keep themselves from flashing 7900 XTX with a 9700 XT BIOS to get extra performance, I'll go ahead and reflash the chip just in case. As you would expect, my regular programmer does not recognize the chip that's on this board, so we have to use a special programmer like this. It helps to have them both, sometimes 3. I'd get 10 if you're into AMD repairs, just to be safe. In any case, let's boot the card and see if the BIOS solved the problem. And nope, that did not help.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, so I've checked for voltages. For whatever reason, I found this 1.5 volt that came out of nowhere. According to my diagram, this is supposed to be 5 volt. And the funny thing is, it's 5 volt when it's powered by the power supply, but not when it's powered by the motherboard. I guess it's one of those AMD things that no one will ever understand. At that time, I spent hours behind the screen trying to figure out what's going on here, but I found absolutely nothing. I even tried swapping the chips with the USB-C, but nothing changed. And I doubt it has anything to do with anything, especially considering that the main 5 volt works. And I hate AMD either way, so who cares? At this point, I have exhausted my list of possible problems and just left me with one. That is, cracked solder joint somewhere. Usually under the core, so let's rebuild the core and see if that helps. Ladies and gentlemen, the reball is done. Let's take a look at the board using my good old P2 Pro while powering the board, and it looks good. But wait, what about the P3? Isn't newer equals better? Not all the time, so today I'm going to give you a few reasons why this camera is not better, but worse by every account, starting with the obvious lens offset from the center. Since the lens isn't centered to the device, sometimes you point it in one area thinking that that's what you're going to be looking at, you're actually looking at something else. Another thing to consider is that the P2 Pro has a magnetic macro lens that attaches very easily, making detailed observations easier and faster. P3, on the other hand, requires you to take your time and great care finding the right focus. On top of that, the claim for better image quality comes not from the hardware, but from the software. This X3 button makes everything look processed, so I will turn it off so you can see the true image without post-processing. The P2 Pro camera has wider view angle, so you can see the entire board without needing to run to my neighbor's house to gain distance. And if we compare the quality of the two, it's the same. Even macro shots are the same. In conclusion, P3 can't see wide enough. Focus adjustment is very slow, image is offset to the side, and the image quality is the same. All for double the price. The P2 Pro, on the other hand, is smaller, quicker, wider field of view, and it performs just like P3. And it's cheaper too, so why bother? Either way, let's boot the card and see if it posts. Nope, the reball did not help. Thanks, AMD.
Thanks, Steve.
What's interesting about the memory test is that it passes, but it takes a while for it to pass. So I decided to reball all 4 chips at the bottom in hopes to either fix the problem or expose it. After all, this card has HYNIX chips. HYNIX is weird on its own and can sometimes show false negative. With all 4 chips reballed, as you may have already guessed, it does not post. But now, if we run the memory test, we actually get an error. So let's replace this bastard that took us a day to find and see if that helps. There, the test ran much quicker now, and the card has finally posted. And that is why I don't like AMD cards. Oftentimes there's simply no way to find a faulty memory chip, unless the chip is completely dead. Either way, I'll put some fresh pads on this thing, close it up, and I almost forgot I need to fix those caps on the back. The way I like to do those is as follows. And that's basically how I like to do those. Hopefully that was clear. Either way, the tester shows that we have all 16 data line works, so let's boot the card and see if it works. There we have it. Not even 5 minutes in, the system has frozen. Suspecting problems with the drivers, I cleaned up using the DDU utility and reinstalled the drivers again. But shortly after running a test again, it got me the same thing. System froze at nearly the same time frame. This is the part where I should say,
that's not normal.
Either way, I started to do the process of elimination and run light loads starting with the valley, followed by a superposition, and I even purposely overheated the card to potentially expose any cracked solder joints, but it kept on working. Then I ran it without the hardware info, thinking it may be poking its fingers too deep into the driver, causing issues. But it ran until I opened the afterburner. Yep, it's the afterburner again. Without the afterburner, everything works great, so thank you for watching, have a blessed day, and goodbye.